Hello everybody and welcome to part 2 of our video on how to write an MDD cache reader. So on the previous video we went a little bit over the basics of what the MDD file format is all about, how the data is stored and how we're going to read it. So right now we're going to go ahead and start implementing our little plugin. So for this I have created a folder on this location. You can create it anywhere. But basically, this is where I'm going to do all of my work. So the first thing I'm going to do is start my video editor. I'm sorry, my text editor. And we are going to go ahead and create a file called MDD. Let's see, what should we call this? Let's call it tdcmdd.py. Right? So that's going to be our file. And we are gonna go ahead and start implementation by bringing in all of the stuff that we need. So for starters, we're gonna need to bring in Maya.openMaya, and I usually do a quick handle as om. And I know I'm gonna need also openMaya mpx for the proxies. And I'm going to do this ompx. Okay, so that being done, I'm going to go ahead and define a couple of things that I need. So next thing we're going to do is start defining some variables that we're going to use throughout our script. So I'm going to go ahead and write here ktdc mdd read node name. And we're going to go ahead and give this read node the name tdcmddread. Right? So this is going to be the name of the node when we create it inside of Maya. Then usually what you also need is an ID. For most nodes in Maya, they need to have a very unique ID. So for that you need to initialize an mtype ID object, and then you need to give it an integer class in hex form. So the number here, usually, like if you're going to write a plugin and you're going to release it out to the public, you need to have a number that's unique to your plugin. And usually the way you do that is you contact Autodesk and they'll give you like, oh, you're going to start developing plugins. They'll give you like here's a series of 10 numbers that you can use, and next time you need them they'll give you more. Studios like Disney and ILM, all these guys, they have like hundreds of numbers assigned to them. Since this plugin is not going to be released to anyone, we're just going to use it ourselves. I'm just going to go ahead and type a number here that I hope does not create any problems with the numbers that are part of the system. So let's do 87024400. Right, so now we have created our type ID. And now we're going to go ahead over here, and here's where we're going to start a class. And this is going to be our node definition. So we're going to start a class, and it's going to be called tdcmddread. And this class is going to inherit from the proxy ompx, from the proxy called mpx deformer node, right? Because we're going to be writing a deformer node, so might as well basically you're going to inherit from that because it's going to give you all the base functionality that you need. So at the moment the first thing I'm going to do is just write a plugin that at least can be loaded. So I'm going to go ahead down here and create my constructor, and this is going to be init self, and then here we're going to initialize the parent, so ompx.mpx deformer node, and then init. Right, so what this is going to allow is to initialize the parent class, which officially runs the initializer on the whole thing. So that being done, we're going to go ahead and scroll to the bottom. Usually the one thing that you need to do in a deformer class, you need to override a function called deform. Right, so this is called deform, and it takes the following signature: self, data block, geometry iterator, and these are all classes inside of Maya, a matrix, and then this word multi-index. And right now we're just going to pass this because we're not really going to do anything on it. So you might ask yourself, where am I getting this deform node information? Where can I find it? If you go to your Maya API class reference and you look for the MPX deformer node, here's where you're going to find the description of this node and what it does. It'll tell you that it allows for the creation of user-defined deformers. Deformers is a node which takes number of input geometries, deforms them, and places the output into a geometry attribute. So there's a lot of description here, and here's a little bit of information on how to use it. If you scroll down, you're going to find that there's this method right here, deform, and if we click on it, it's going to say this method performs the deformation algorithm. So this is the one that you need to override, and it's going to tell you the inputs. So first you're going to have a data block, an iterator, a matrix, and a multi-index. And over here, you're gonna see the documentation of what each one of these inputs become to the function. So that being done, let's go over here again to our file. So we went ahead and created this. Now what we need to do is create the node creator from the previous examples that we did. On the previous set of videos, you know that whenever you're using the Maya Python API, you need to usually define a creator function. So we're just going to call it node creator, and then this is going to return ompx.asmpx pointer tdc MDD read. Right? This is very standard, is what we did on the previous videos. And now usually you're going to need a node initializer that usually initializes the node and sets up everything. So let's go ahead and just add a little here documentation. So this is node creator, and this here is node initializer. So define node initializer. And I think right now we're just once again going to pass it because, whenever you see me putting passes where I'm going to eventually put more code, right now I'm just building the backbone of the plugin. So that's all I'm going to do right now. So we're going to scroll down, and now we're going to go ahead and create the couple of things that we need in order to really make this plugin work. So we're going to, let me do this here. Plugin init. So I just like to put these blocks once in a while so I know exactly where things begin and end. So here we're going to do initialize plugin, and then this is going to use an M object. And if you guys want a little more information on what I'm actually doing here, you guys can look some of the previous videos that we did. So mpx.mfn plugin, and then this is going to take the M object, and then we're going to give it a little information of what the plugin is all about. So TD channel is the author. The version of the plugin, we're going to call it 1.0, and then the version of Maya is going to be any, because we're not using anything extremely fancy. We're just using the deformer node, and the deformer node was supported from version 1.0 of Maya. So this plugin should be able to run with any version of Maya. So then we're going to create a try statement, and here is where we're going to go ahead and try to register our node. So let's go ahead and type here register node. And we're going to do mplugin register node, and the register node takes several parameters. On the previous examples, we were doing register commands, like on the previous videos. This is the first time we're registering the node, so it takes a couple of different attributes. So the first one is going to take is the string of the node that you're trying to register, like the name of how it's going to be registered inside of Maya. So here we can do ktdc ndc read node name, which is what we had all the way up here, there. So we give it that, and then tdc MDD read ID, right? And this is the ID that we have underneath that line on line 6. Then it's going to take the node creator function. So node creator, and then after that it's going to take the node initializer, and then after that, if I remember correctly, it's going to take the type of node that you're trying to register, right? So this is going to be ompx.mpx node k deformer node, right? So that's what is gonna, that is the call to register. Now, since we're doing a try, we have to do the exception. Basically, what happens if this loading process fails, and we usually want to write something to the screen. So here we do systems standard error write, and then here we give it, you know, a message that hopefully makes some sense. So let's just do fail to register node, which give it a format operator, a new line, and then for format we're just going to do ktdc MDD node name. So that's going to handle the initialization of the plugin. Now let's go ahead and do the uninitialization. So def uninitialize plugin, once again an M object, and then here we're going to do M plugin equals ompx mfn plugin M object, and we're gonna again do a try statement, and here we're just gonna do M plugin dot deregister node, and this is gonna be tdc MDD read ID, and if it fails we create our except, and here system is standard error write fail to unregister node string operator format operator format k tdc MDD, the node name. So that's pretty much all we need as the backbone for our plugin. So we're going to go ahead and try to load this. Hopefully we didn't make any mistakes. Chances are we did, because there's a lot of typing and it's very easy to do a mistake. I'm just going to add here initialize. As you guys can see, I like to comment stuff a lot. Sometimes needlessly, like what I'm doing right now probably, but since this is going to be shared, since I'm going to share all this code with you guys, I'd rather add a little more comment that I need to just to make sure that things are clear. So we're going to do on initialize plugin. Okay, so that being done, let's go ahead, give this a save. Everything looks good, I think. Let's go ahead and try to load this thing. So this is the shell where I'm going to run Maya from, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the folder that I was working on to the Maya plugin path. This is an environment variable that you need to use to make sure that Maya knows where to load plugins from. So I'm going to go ahead and enter this, And then I had previously navigated all the way to the location of the Maya binary. This is something a lot of people are used to, always, just double clicking the icon for Maya. It's the easiest way to launch it. But as a technical director, you really almost always want to launch your applications from the shell. Reason for this is the shell will report back a lot of, if there are errors and things like that, it will report things back to you that a lot of times maybe they're hidden if you didn't launch it from the shell. So I think you should always launch your application from the shell if you can. So there's one thing I just realized that we didn't do. Down here you see me using sys standard error. We didn't import the sys module. So I'm gonna go here and import sys, which is one of the standard Maya modules. Okay, that being done, let's go ahead and try to run Maya. And let's cross our fingers that it did not, I didn't introduce any errors there. So let's bring this script editor and let's go ahead and try to load this plugin. So let's see if it showed up under plugin manager. Okay, I guess I typed something wrong in the Maya file, in the environment variable. We can always go here and just look for it. So let's go into desktop and here we're gonna find code MDD, and let's try to load this file and see what it does. Okay, failed to run file, error td MDD. So I guess I forgot to bring in the deformer node. So let's go ahead and go back over here. Let's look at the error again. Okay, you see here I typed deformer node. That's our error. So let's go look for it. It's right there. Well, this is probably going to be one of many. Deformer node, that looks correct. Let's find Maya. Let's try to load it again. Let's see, module has no mpx deformer. Oh man, I'm typing things wrong left and right. But you know what? It happens. It happens a lot. So let's read this good. Deformer. Right? Deformer. Okay, that looks correct, I think. Let's try to load it again. I think at this point you might be able to just run a line like load plugin with the name, because the path might have already been added. So let's see what this does. Oopsies. Okay, so it didn't complain on any syntax part. Right now it's just telling it fails to register the node TDC NDD read. So it failed at the registering part. So and just to be clear, let's go ahead and try this again. Let's try this again just to make sure. Okay, it says it's already loaded. Let's go ahead and unload it. Failed to register node. Okay, it's still failing to register the node. So let's take a look at what's going on over here. Okay, so I'm looking through the code here and I realized that the problem is somewhere here in the initializer, but I also realized that I'm not printing enough information. Like, it's telling me right now it's failing, but it's not telling me why it's failing. So we can add this here, and let's go ahead and add an exception, which is usually the best way to do this, actually capture the exception. I'm going to copy this line and let's get rid of this, and let's just print the actual exception to see what the problem is. I'm sure it's something simple that I'm just not seeing. You get to a point where your eyes just glance over whatever the problem is. So let's go ahead and unload this, and let's try to load it again. Okay, so failed to register node name, global name node initializer. Oh, there you go. Typo. Good old typo. So node initializer, right? Let's try to use initializer. Okay. So that might do it. Let's go over here. Try to unload the plugin. Try to load it again. And right now it didn't complain at all. So I guess I should be able to just run this. Cannot find TDC. Oh, that's the command. I believe there's a way to create a deformer. Let's look that up really quick, because there is a way to create a deformer. So if we go over here, and let's bring our Maya 2012 Python reference, Maya API user guide. Let's see if that's it. No, that's the same one we had before. Here we go, technical documentation, commands Python, and I think it's just deformer. So deformer, and I think you just give it a name. Okay, so let's try this. I'm gonna go over to one of these Python tabs. Let me go ahead and create a brand new one. So command new tab Python import cmds maya.cmds as cmds deformer tdc MDD read, I think it was the name. Let's select this, and creator no object matches name MDD read. Okay, let's see. Did it not get registered properly? You know what? Sometimes it's good to restart Maya. Let me just go ahead and here. One more thing. Let's try to unload it programmatically. Okay, so that did unload. And then now let's try loading it. Alright. And let's see if this works. No object matches TDC MDC read. Okay, let's look at our code just to make sure that that's what we called it. Okay, so something's wrong. Let's go ahead and find out what's going on over here. Okay, so I found out what the problem was, and I believe the problem is that when we implemented, when we wrote this over here, and this might not exactly be the case, but this is what I suspect right now, is that when we created our class and we created our deform, we didn't really implement it. So I think Maya is detecting that this deform method is empty, it's not really defined. So because of that, it's not allowing us to load it through the create deformer method, which is what I've used in the past a couple of times to test this thing. So that didn't work. But if I change it to create node instead of create of deformer, you will see that it goes ahead and creates our node right here, and the type is TDC MDD read, and it doesn't really have anything here other than the envelope, which is, I guess, added in there by the parent class of the deformer. So at this point it is loading. One thing that I did find out while I was trying to figure out what was wrong is that I had typed the environment variable wrong. I had told you guys that the environment variable was Maya plugin path, and it's actually plug with underscore path, plug underscore in path. So once you do that, this field right here is going to show up in your script, and you'll be able to load the plugin without having to go and find it first. So this pretty much wraps up at least the creation of the bare bone of the script. Let's go ahead and try to unload this. Well, cannot be unloaded because it's still in use. but I believe if we go over here and we select it and we delete it, and if we do select TDCE MDD read 1, we select that one also and we delete it, now we should be able to go over here and unload the plugin. There might be a node somewhere that I haven't seen, so it's not allowing us to unload it. So let's go ahead and do this really quick. Let me create a new file, and now let's try to unload the plugin. Okay, so it did unload it, and if I try to load it again, it loads it. So at least right now we've gotten our script to the point where it's loading and unloading. So we're gonna wrap it up right now. I hope you guys were able to follow along with the code. As you guys know, all of the code is available on our GitHub account, which is listed down here at the bottom. And what you're going to find there is pretty much the finished code. You know, try to follow along. If anything doesn't make sense, you can always go get the code. We have a video that shows you how to get the code. And you can just copy and paste it, you know, wherever it, you know, you think you might have any issues. If you have any questions, let us know on the question and answer forum, and we'll get back to you. Thank you very much, and see you on the next video.